Warning: the views and opinions expressed in this program are our own and/or those of our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of our employers. Viewers' discretion is advised.
So skilled trades were so hot over the last 5 years. Hot,
Oh,
like
yeah.
white
Oh, yeah.
lightning hot. Private equity was trying to buy them up and roll them all up, right? A lot of them used SBA loans, and a lot of them failed for the exact reasons that I just told you.
But let's talk about this from another angle. These mom and pops are ready to sell. So do you pick the guy who's willing to pick up the business and buy it and learn it and take it in on his own? Or do they shut down?
If I could go back with the knowledge I have now, I would have bought a business, honestly. I wouldn't have done a startup.
You guys, I just got a digital camera smile.
What's happening? Why do you have that?
Why?
Did you just come back from the future or the past or whatever? What's going on?
I don't know.
That's crazy. So that looks like a digital camera that we had years ago. It's an HD digital camera. It was like top of the line, and my daughter Leah took it from us, and now she uses it for everything.
They made a comeback. All these digital cameras are cool again.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
It's giving 06.
Nah, man, I'm keeping it all on my phone. It's
Same
easier.
here. Yeah.
That's too much to
I
carry
barely
around.
Yeah, and I barely take pictures on my phone anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Quality's pretty good too.
I mostly
Look.
take screenshots on my phone, if you know what I mean.
This is so strange.
And it's violet color.
Oh my
Get it?
god. My sister-in-law carries around a Polaroid sometimes. I feel like that's kind of cool because like a Polaroid's like physical.
Why?
You know? Just because she's doing what Emily's doing, but 10 years too late.
We're so cool.
Dude, I remember when Polaroid was like top of the line technology. Like it was so cool. If you had a Polaroid picture, it was you were awesome. You could get an instant camera instead of having to take the little rolls of film into the CVS and get them developed.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the BDO Show, a podcast for passionate BDOs wanting to level up their game with advice and stories from battle-tested BDOs. I'm your host, Emily, and I'm here with my fellow co-host, Ryan Kroge. At the beginning of each episode, we're always going to remind you to like, subscribe, and send over your topics and suggestions to the BDO Show at artofsba.com. And check out our whole family of shows, SBA Today, which airs live every week on LinkedIn, as well as our Art of SBA Lending podcast. Okay, BDOs, it's story time. And no, I am not talking about the time Sterling tried to finance a zoo. You'll have to go back to episode 3 for that. I'm talking about the story that your borrower has in their head, and they may need that extra boost to finally get it onto paper. Rapid Business Plans is a known and trusted partner that can help them do just that. Whether your borrowers are working towards acquiring a business, starting one up, or expanding and making moves, within just a few short days, Rapid Business Plans will deliver powerful, fast, SBA and USDA ready business plans with projections and assumptions. If they need an export business plan for an ITL loan or a feasibility study, they have you covered there too. We know this process is not a walk in the park, or should I say zoo. Let the Rapid Business Plans team take some of the wild out of the process so that your borrower's vision and passions can come to life. For more information or to get acquainted, email Bethany McClellan at bethany@rapidbusinessplans.com or click the link in the show notes. Today's episode, we have another guest, but this one is a laser-focused guest. We have Mr. Shem Doupe on the episode. We're gonna not only talk about, he just sort of stepped into the BDO role, but we're also going to kind of bring it back to he used to be a business owner. That is what we do. That is our bread and butter. Is we are funding businesses nationwide. So it's kind of cool to have both a new BDO and a former business owner. So Shem, why don't you just give us a quick intro?
Yeah, thanks. This is pretty cool to be on the show. It's a big moment for me. So anyway, yeah, so the quick history. Back in 2016, my wife and I had the crazy idea to start up a cafe, non-franchise. So just go for it. And we didn't really have any money. I think we had like 20 grand total. So we took out a personal loan and just went for it. And it was a total success. So cut to probably 6 years later, we started having kids and wanted to kind of step back from that a bit. So we sold that business. And then that's when I transitioned to become an SBA loan coordinator at the time. So that's a quick summary overview.
Nice.
Yeah, that's right.
And so you sold your business.
Yes, Yep, sold it.
And you didn't get an SBA loan to start it. You did it with cash.
I did not. Yeah. So,
right.
and the person who bought the business did not get an SBA loan to buy it. So I didn't have any direct SBA experience moving into the SBA world.
No kidding.
It's kind of crazy how isolated upstate New York is from the knowledge of the SBA world, and that's my personal opinion. I
It's
feel like
it's
not a lot of
it's not just upstate New York. It's the entire state of New York is
okay.
completely
I was like
isolated from
just
all
kind of calling
SBA.
out my one area right now.
Yeah.
So I do agree though. Like when I like talk to family and friends and I'm like, yeah, 7A, they're like, what's that? And I know so many business owners in this area and they've never utilized a program. They don't know what it's about. They don't even want to hear it because they hear SBA and they're like, I'm scared. I'm like, no, no, no,
Banking
no.
is
Yeah,
so
well,
different just in the state of New York. Even down in Manhattan, Brooklyn, I maybe do
Yep.
1, 2 loans a year in the city of New York. I have
Are you even allowed it in the state of New
a
York
re
anymore?
oh, yeah, personal physically, no, but we'll find out in about 2 weeks. I'm going to the city here, in 2 weeks to celebrate. Kayla turns 21, so we're gonna be tearing it up in New
Oh,
York City here in about 2 weeks, so, um, that's gonna be a lot of fun, but I talk to referral sources. I talk to, attorneys, brokers, CPAs, all types of people in New York, and they just say, "No, we don't wanna do SBA. No, we're not going SBA." They find other means to get things done, and New York's just one of those states that it's just they don't they stay away from SBA, which I don't understand why, because it's a perfect vehicle for business acquisitions, but it might be because a lot of transactions happen with real estate, and real estate is just so stinking expensive out there. They probably can't
yeah.
get it done
So
without some
Shem,
type of
knowing
seller
what you know
financing.
now, but now knowing you only have 20 grand in your name, what do you think you would have gone the SBA route to start that business?
no, what I
Would
would
you wouldn't have been eligible, would you have? No.
probably not. I mean, we would have had outside income, which would have been good, but probably not. I mean, we didn't have a house at the time or anything. We were like 22 years old or something, so the
Yeah.
whole thing was crazy. But what I would have done if I could go back with the knowledge I have now, I would have bought a business. Honestly, I wouldn't have done a startup. I would have just saved up money, 10% down, bought a cafe or something, and then changed it to make it my own. That would have been way easier, way less stressful, and that's what I've learned from the SBA. And so yeah, that's probably what I would have done.
That seems to be everybody's point of view now. I know a crazy statistic came out this week in the Wall Street Journal that there are more businesses for sale, more small businesses for sale now than there has been in the last 30 years.
And how many of them are blue collar? All those guys that like the plumbers, the electricians, the painters are all retiring and leaving behind a book of business.
And I think we're reaching a saturation point where we're going to have a serious buyer's market here coming up soon. I think 2
Mhm.
things are going to happen. So you saw the Trump administration. Well, what's their press secretary's name? Well, that chick went on.
Caroline Levitt?
Yeah, she went out there and blasted the Fed for haven't dropped their rates yet. Just absolutely lambasted them, talking about how other countries have all dropped their interest rates, and we've got the best, most thriving economy in the world right now, and our rates are still too high. So I think that there's going to be a lot of pressure from this administration to get the Fed to start accelerating interest rate drops. So we're going to have a lot of businesses for sale. Interest rates are going to drop, and it's going to be a buyer's market. So if you're a buyer out there looking to buy a business, the next 12 to 18 months is going to be your time because prices are going to get some significant downward pressure because of saturation in the market, and you're going to get low interest rates to be able to get in there. Personally, I know I'm going to probably look at buying a business because
And if
it's
you are a
just
woman, a
crazy out there.
minority, a veteran, now is your time to shine because this is
Oh,
the program.
look at me. I'm a white, blonde haired, blue eyed Christian straight male. I get nothing.
I thought you were a
Get
ginger, now you're calling
absolutely. I
yourself
am a
blonde.
I am a ginger.
Even worse. No. So, um, so Shem, let's talk a little bit about. So obviously, you went from business owner to
hmm
loan coordinator, and now you are a brand new BDO. What about a year? I'd say a year and a half.
Yeah, I'd say about
A-
a year and a half. Technically a year, but really about a year and a half.
And you came with knowledge. You came with some loan coordinator knowledge. You came
Yeah.
from your previous institution as well. I think you dabbled in PPP a little. I think as
No, I
well.
was a
You down
Maybe.
with
recipient of
PPP?
PPP. I was a
Yeah.
recipient from the cafe. I actually got a PPP loan. But I did not have to do any loans
Thank you.
personally.
You
So
annoyed me till 4 in the morning while
yes,
I was doing
exactly.
those. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Hey, is this
So
forgivable? When? How
yeah.
do I know if this is forgiven?
It's giving forgiveness. So let's talk about your mentorship.
Sure.
You had some at the previous lender, but now it's like you are underneath some high producing BDOs,
Yeah.
and they have just and you're smart with everything you do, your marketing, your job, like literally everything. I could just say it over and over. I think you're a very smart person that
Thanks.
you were able to pick this up and run with it. And not everybody has that ability to just pick up and becoming a BDO and just soar. So talk about a little bit about your mentors and
Sure.
talk about your drive and how you retain information.
Yeah. Well, mentor is Mary Soldano, the great Mary Soldano. Have been saying and will say forever, no matter how things turn out, that I'm here because of Mary Soldano, because that's true.
Mhm.
I don't really understand it, but she just kind of insisted on helping me and teaching me, and has just been extremely generous. So
And
first
that
and
all
foremost,
happened with the downfall of our previous lender. We all sort of just scattered and kind of clung on to each other because we had become such friends,
well, it
and
was
I thought
before
that was
that. I
awesome.
mean, honestly, I was her loan coordinator for a very short period of time. I want to say like a few months, and we totally hit it off. And uh, we worked really well together, so that was part of it. And a lot of what I learned about the SBA process, obviously, I knew loan coordinator stuff, but that only gets you so far. That's like there's some amount of that that's just, I don't want to say paper pushing, but you're obviously just doing the administrative stuff. But then there's this additional layer of loan coordination where you're really getting involved in the loan and you're really trying to like help push it towards closing, and you're helping when fires come up. And so I learned a lot from Mary just watching her and how she interacts with her loans and closing. And I was like, I told myself when I started, I was like, if there's something that Mary's jumping in and doing, that's probably a failure on my part. I should be doing that. She should be going and getting more deals. I should be handling fires. So that was kind of how I just looked at her and what she was doing, and modeled myself after her, and just the creativity of deal structuring. So I was just kind of a sponge early on, and she was always very generous to tell me how she was doing things and answering my questions. Ultimately, what happened, where we all, scattered, as you put it. Again, Mary just grabbing me and dragging me along, and insisting I should be a BDO. And she told me early on something that I did not understand at the time, but she just said, like, you would be a top producing BDO. This is like a week after I was her loan coordinator. And I had no idea what that meant. How could you know what that means if you're not a BDO? You have no idea, right? And now that I am a BDO, I'm like, okay, I understand what she meant, because I was like working weekends and just work anytime I had an email, I'd be responding to it. And I didn't really I was like, well, doesn't everybody kind of do this? Like, if you don't have anything going on, answer your
No.
emails. And she's like, no, no, no. Like, that level of responsiveness is like key for being successful as a BDO. You got to answer your phone. You got to respond to emails. You got to address things as they come up. Which of course is sort of the inspiration for the laser eyes, the laser focus, because that's a big part of what I offer. So, yeah, so that's kind of just a summary of how Mary dragged me into becoming a BDO, and I am immensely grateful to her.
So tell me something, Shem. Because you were a business owner, you own a cafe, you've been through the
Hmm.
process, you've opened a business, you sold a business, you were successful in the business. How does that change your lens, or how does that give you a different viewpoint when you are talking to business owners, when you are talking to people looking to buy a business and you're looking to
Yeah.
finance them?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, the one thing I know is that business ownership is not easy. And that definitely makes me suspicious when I get a borrower, a searcher, if you will, and they're like, look, I've got the money to put down. I've got this stack of, the PDF stack of advisors. Like, that stuff just, it's not my thing. Like, I've run a business before. I know you get the call, when you're, let's say you have outside income, you're working another job, you get a call, your espresso machine is down, and you got to figure out how to fix that. Like, there's all sorts of stuff that comes up, and your team of advisors is not going to help you. Okay, you got to be like 100% committed into this thing. So that's kind of what I have, like the knowledge and history I have, that helps me parse out good versus bad borrowers or buyers of businesses. So that's probably the number one thing. Obviously, I'm pretty intimately familiar with financials, profit loss, balance sheet, all that stuff. And so that helped me early on in being able to look at certain things and understand financials. But as far, like, for me, the biggest thing is looking at a buyer and kind of like putting myself in their shoes, and asking, can you really buy this business? Well, you could buy it. Can you run this business? And are you serious about that? Or is this just some, passive income thing for you? Because it's just never passive income. That's just the fact.
Yeah, that's a good point. What have you seen? So we've got the new SOP that began June 1st, right? I want to talk about, you brought up qualifying a borrower
Mm-hmm.
strength. We everything that I just said earlier, we're running into in the next 18 months, we're going to have a saturation of businesses out there on the market being sold, the lack of buyers. But the new SOP I have found has brought more qualified buyers to the table. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to probably think that down the road, with all these businesses for sale, it's going to bring all the unqualified buyers to the woodwork as well. What have you seen since the new SOP changed over from your eyes, from your lenses?
Yeah.
And do you think we're going to get
Your
more
laser eyes.
unqualified borrowers going forward too?
I don't know about that. What I will tell, I don't know about the unqualified borrower piece, but I will say that my life has been made significantly better by these SOP changes.
Amen to that.
I had been spending so much time on bad deals, thinking that my value add was to look how many pieces of the puzzle we can move together, because it could be a 2-year interest only or a 2-year full standby, and we can make any amount, up 2.5% down, all these different options, trying to like jam this borrower into this acquisition. And now I look at a PFS and I go, nope, sorry, you don't have enough money to do this. If you have no liquidity, like, I'm just not interested. And then it's on to the next deal. And I
Yeah.
have been busier and got more deals into my pipeline in the last month than I have the prior 6 months.
It does help weed out all the unqualified buyers quicker,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to down payment. I kicked two to the curb this morning. They just didn't have the money in their account. And I even
Yep.
had one guy said, well, I'll have the money by the time we get to closing. And it cracks me up because I swear, I think Ray posted something on LinkedIn earlier this week about, oh, I can get the money. Yeah, the guy dropped that line on me. I said, well, you know what? I'm sorry, but I can't do business with someone who's got to go out and try to scrounge money together
Yep.
to put up a down payment. That just doesn't work. I want qualified borrowers. I want
Yep.
borrowers who had enough foresight to save money, season that money, then go look out for a business. Get
Yeah.
your 10%. Know how much you can acquire. Know the type of business that you can acquire, and then go out and try to find that business. I'm so glad with these new SOP changes, because then we're getting rid of the buyers, the searchers out there is like, oh, you
Mhm.
know what? I found this digital marketing company. No, that didn't go through. Oh, here's an electrical contracting company. Oh, that didn't go through. Oh, here's a media. Oh, I
Mhm.
mean, all different industries, not
Oh,
apples,
yeah.
oranges, strawberries,
Oh,
everything, not
yeah.
even making any sense. I'm like, look, know what your strength is. Know what type of business you want to go after, know
Mhm.
what you're good at, and then start focusing in that industry. I get a borrower that's bringing me 5, 6 different industries. Done. Done.
Yeah.
No.
I have seen this as well, like, here's my third, because they kinda just send you, like, the sim. "What do you think about this one?" You're like, "What?" Like, you want me to sell this to my credit team with that
Right.
in the back of my head, that you're just, like, going from this to that? It's like, no, you gotta pick something you have a strength in, you gotta believe in it, you gotta want it. This goes back to my experience as a business owner, like, you're not just gonna buy any one of these businesses and then just sit back. Like, why are you buying this business? This is completely different than the last business you were looking at.
So, yeah, we had a borrower, one of our BDOs, he closed a loan. They had to get kind of creative because he wanted to buy, it was either repair or plumbing. I cannot remember which one, but either way, I know that he had no experience in that industry, but he had an accounting background, so he could handle the books and the numbers and the checks and the
Mhm.
payments and the AR, AP, everything. But the business owner was like, "Why don't I stay on for 2 years, and while you go through your apprenticeship and you get all your correct licensing, and now you can run the business." And it was awesome. It was r that's the American dream right there. Like, having somebody say, "I built this, I love it, and I'm not just gonna sell it to anybody, and I wanna
Mhm.
make sure I'm handing it to the next person that's going to also care for it like I did." And I love that we were able to get most lenders are able to get creative and say, "Hey, don't just go out and buy a business. Let's make sure that you're really gonna, don't let yourself down, don't let the government down, and do not let that business down." So I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we're going to find out that these last couple years that we had all these loose SOP rules, that a lot of these contractors have already failed or are failing.
Gonna backfire.
Oh, it's especially contractors. If it requires a license, any of the skilled trades, plumbing, HVAC, roofing, electrical, any of the skilled trades that were acquired by somebody that does not have that license, that was never a skilled tradesman, they're going to fail. I mean, this is coming from a guy who was raised by a skilled tradesman. All right. They hate
Same.
pencil pushers. They hate white collar stuff people. They will not work for them. They will leave as soon as they find out that someone bought that business. That's not an electrician. That's not an HVAC person. That's never been in the trenches like they have. They will immediately go and work for another contractor, and you will lose all your staff. I don't care if the seller hangs on. I don't want to do that transaction because it's not going to work. That business is going to fail down the road. They don't want to work for a pencil pusher. They don't want to work for a stuffed shirt. They don't want to work for an entrepreneur. They want to work for a skilled tradesperson. That's why when you see a lot of these trades that are for sale, the individual selling them, they're the master plumber. They're the master electrician. Why? Because 30 years ago, they started with just them, a box of tools, and a truck, and they went out and they grew it to a $2-3 million business. So they have the respect of the skilled tradesperson that are working for them, because if they have a question, if they have a concern, he can talk their language and tell them exactly what's going on, and they can talk about it and they can troubleshoot it and they can make better procedures going forward. If you've been an accountant your whole life, if you've been an IT guy your whole life, and you want to buy an electrical contracting business, you'll have no idea how to handle those situations. And those guys will not respect you, and they will not work for you, and that business will fail. So if you're out there and you're a searcher and you've never held a license and you've never been in skilled trades, do not buy a skilled trades business. Just don't do it. You will fail.
Wait, pause. So you're saying everything I just said was wrong?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way.
No, not really. I mean, there's a big difference between someone. Well, I guess, an accountant. Yeah, I guess you are saying it.
So he had an accounting background. He just had the background in accounting. He wasn't just an accountant.
Well, hey, let's get spicy. Let's get spicy.
And I'm not going to say that they're all going to fail.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of them are going to fail, and that's why. So skilled trades were so hot over the last 5 years. Hot, lightning hot, and people were trying to buy them up like crazy. Private equity was trying to buy them up and roll them all up, right? A lot of them used SBA loans, and a lot of them failed for the exact reasons that I just told you. We had a bunch in our portfolio that failed for the exact reasons that I just told you. And so because of what I've seen and because of just what I know, being around skilled tradesmen my whole life, I won't do those transactions. I will just not do that. I want whoever is going to be that master electrician, that master plumber, that master HVAC guy. I want them to personally and unlimitedly guarantee that loan, have skin in the game, and be an owner in that business for that business to go forward. I want them engaged, and I want them running it.
Yeah, I think that is the good trade-off, is to have an actual guarantee from someone who has a license and actually knows what they're doing. No offense, but obviously, they actually know how to replace an HVAC unit or something, right? So I do agree with that. Now, I will say, just to be the yin to your yang, if you will, I'm young, you're old, I did.
I'm old?
I did.
Geez, Shem shooting. Jeez.
That's the meme. Come on. I love my memes.
Strays. I've already got M shooting strays at me every day for my age. I don't need Shem piling on this.
The two
Central New Yorkers over here talking trash. Jeez.
No, but I did.
Love.
I did do an HVAC deal for an MBA searcher, and it has been successful. It has been great, but there was a similar culture between this guy and the HVAC culture that you're describing. It wasn't. I'm just from wherever. I'm trying to buy this, run it remotely. There was a significant cultural overlap there, and in addition, there was a lot of support from the actual seller. There was long-term employees that he had met, and he had some other blue collar experience prior. So it was a good fit. So I'm not saying there isn't some, place for that, but I think we can all agree that what you're describing, Kroge, is not the best. And I don't blame you for staying away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, pause. We need to take my piece out then. I thought that was good, and it's horrible because basically.
Hey, it's your opinion, honestly.
I'm so sorry. Not you, M.
Well, hey, there's lots of people.
I had a whole clip and everything. I'm like, okay, here it is. This is great. And then Kroge's like, the business is gonna fail. It's gonna fail.
No, we don't know that. That's why I'm being the yin to his yang.
No, they're not all going to fail. You're going to have some exceptions to the rules. You're going to have exceptions to the rules. I just see the vast majority of them, these mom and pop contracting companies, they only want to work for tradesmen. That's it. I know the head of a tradesman, and that's just the way they operate.
But let's talk about this from another angle. These mom and pops are ready to sell, and their employees do not have that type of money. And they have the experience, but they don't have the type of money, and they maybe don't have what even an SBA 7A, conventional consumer, whatever type of loan, that there may not be people that are like, okay, you're not fit to have this loan, or you don't have whatever I'm trying to say. So do you pick the guy who's willing to pick up the business and buy it and learn it and take it in on his own, or do they shut down? What do you do?
I mean, I find it hard to believe. I guess I could be wrong. It depends on what the sale price is, but I find it hard to believe that, for a blue collar business like that they're going to just let their legacy go. Like in my experience, there's usually a long-term employee, 25 years, something like that, and the sellers are concerned with just that employee. Like, we don't want to just leave this business and have that employee get fired, or like, there's so much care in the business that I just don't think that they're going to just pick the first MBA that comes by and will offer them the price. I mean, obviously, everyone's different.
And I think there's a lot of truth there too, Shem. I think there's a lot of truth to that. I don't think, like you said, there's a lot of legacy. There's a lot of years that they've operated it. And you're right. Usually when they leave or when they sell the business, there's one or two master electricians or electricians that can run the business and actually use their license. Hopefully they stick around. Hopefully, if you are doing something in that regard where you're hiring someone who just got out of his mom's basement with his Wharton School of Business degree, looking to buy an electrical company, hopefully you at least get him to sign some type of an employment agreement going forward and put some type of hooks in there to make sure that your guarantee is secured, and that your loan is going to be doing well, and that you've got leadership in the business from a tradesman perspective.
But wait, I wanted to talk about marketing a little bit, because Shem, you went from, you didn't even have a LinkedIn. Like, you literally have probably had a LinkedIn for what, 2 years? Not even?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And then you just like sort of were like, hey, I have this idea for laser eyes. We're like, what? And so tell us where that kind of came from, because it's been wonderful, and your work on there is it's poking fun at SBA in a very eloquently like
yeah, your videos
it's hilarious
are great, man.
To everybody.
Very creative and very funny. Yeah, I like that.
Thanks, I appreciate that. The marketing thing is all new to me. I've never done anything like it. I guess when I had the cafe, I was in charge of the marketing on Instagram, but that's just posting pictures of lattes, so that's pretty simple. So I really hadn't thought at all about the marketing piece until I knew that I was going to become a BDO. And then then your mind kind of shifts, and you're kind of like, okay, well, now I have to go develop business. I have to like be around. People need to know who I am. And so I thought LinkedIn was the worst place on earth, digitally speaking.
He said that. That's a quote. That's a direct quote.
I mean, I don't have any social media. Facebook was the worst, I thought. And then I saw LinkedIn and I thought, this is like worse Facebook. I mean, this is just terrible. So I was like, it's kind of unfortunate, but like, I have to be on this place. And this is where, if you're a BDO, that's just where all your business comes from. That's just a fact. I mean, I guess if you're Kroge, you might have local business, but if you're a new BDO, and you maybe work in the middle of nowhere, you got to get on LinkedIn. So I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it on my own terms, hopefully. And so I called Ray up and I was like, hey, so I know I'm not a BDO yet, but when I become one, I would like to put like laser eyes in my LinkedIn bio. And he was like, he's looking at me kind of sideways at first, but obviously you guys know Ray. It's like the perfect person to ask. It's like
he lets your freak flag fly. He's like, go do it. It's gonna work. It's gonna work.
If there's anyone who you ever want to ask something like that, it's Ray, obviously.
The most ridiculous, obscure nonsense. He's like, yeah, love it. Let me add to it.
Yeah. So I had to explain what it meant, and obviously you're just asking as well. And so I'll come out on this podcast, on this show, as a Bitcoiner. So there's a meme in the Bitcoin community where you put on laser eyes, which means you only focus on Bitcoin and not all the other cryptocurrencies. And so I thought, I always, thought that was kind of like funny or whatever. And so I had seen that on like Twitter, or X now. And then at the same time, I bought a rental property, and that had turned into a gigantic disaster that was pulling all of my attention away from business development. And so like at that moment, I kind of clicked in my head. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like there's this like idea out there that you need to be diversifying your portfolio and you need to be doing 50 different things. But really, you're just kind of doing everything, not badly, but you're not giving everything your full attention. And I thought, well, if I have to go like, there's a squirrel in the attic at my rental property, then that's time away from borrowers that I should be responding to faster than the next guy. And so that I got the idea of like laser eyes is like, okay, this is like my way of reminding myself and everyone else that this is the end game and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a BDO and it's going to be my sole focus. And so that was the idea behind it. And then once I told Ray that, he said I could do it. so then that gave birth to that.
And it worked because like less than a year later at the BDO retreat, everyone's walking around calling you laser eyes. And I'm like, it worked. It did work.
I guess that was the other thing is I started thinking, and this is like the hardest part about LinkedIn is like, how do you make yourself different? How do you post things that anyone cares about? It's just objectively the hardest part. You're just in a sea of suits. Everyone looks the same. Everyone's got a little tiny circle and, they're posting about their wins, and everyone else is posting about their wins. Like what sets you apart? And so I was like, okay, well, visually, there's just no way anyone has ever put laser eyes or anything like that on LinkedIn because it's so unprofessional, just objectively. And so I just thought, okay, well, if I make a comment on someone's post or if I, make my own post, the laser eyes are going to stick out more than my name will. I mean, I have kind of unique name, but the laser eyes will do a lot of the heavy lifting there. So that was a part of it as well, is like it has depth to it for me, but it also is a good marketing trick, if you will, to just be around. So when I post something, it kind of sticks out.
And I like how like dramatic and just wild the videos are, but they're so accurate. And it's like, it's all the stuff nobody would say. So it's been fun. It's been fun to watch you on there and grow
It's great. Everybody needs something to differentiate themselves. And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's hard. And it's, if I could give some advice to other young BDOs in general, I guess, like it is very scary to do stuff like that. I mean, every time I click post on a video, I'm like, oh God, is this going to be the one that totally ends my career? Like I have, I don't know. And so like, I try to be calculated about it. I try not to offend anybody while still kind of being, making fun of whoever or whatever I'm making fun of. I don't want to like offend someone where it has the opposite effect, but I'm trying to be real about whatever I post, right? Like it's funny because it's true sort of thing. Right. And, I've leaned into trying to be funny. I don't know if I actually am, but I've tried. So that's my overarching marketing campaign.
No, you're hilarious, man. And I like that because everything on LinkedIn is so serious. It's so serious.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You got everybody posting stuff.
This is my why.
Yeah.
Everyone's posting stuff like the sky is falling, dude. And you're out there, doing hilarious content. And I think it's great. I love it.
I appreciate that. Yeah, try not to take everything too seriously while still maintaining the illusion that I am serious when I have work to do. That's the important part.
Well, Shem, it's been awesome talking to you, brother. You got any conferences coming up that you're going to that people can see you at?
Not that I know of. Emily usually tells me when and where I'm going, so I don't know if Emily knows, but
I got some tricks in my sleeve. Don't you worry. I'll let you know.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for being on here. Shem, so happy we finally got you on. Kroge, thanks for being here with me. You guys don't forget to like, subscribe, and send your topics and suggestions to the BDO Show at artofsba.com, and we will see you next time.